Alrighty. What's up, everybody? I'm Dragon Blitz, and this is going to be an all-bosses speedrun of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I hope you guys are ready, and this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. The very first thing you'll notice about this speedrun is we are starting the game in the prologue sequence, playing as Richter. Everything that I'm doing here in this prologue is to set up my stats and items for when I start playing as Alucard after this prologue sequence is done. One of the ways that we're going to get through this prologue sequence quickly is by using a glitch known as damage stacking. The damage stack is a thing that can randomly happen if you use your Hydro Storm and then throw Holy Water afterwards. We did get a damage stack there. It completely melts through Dracula's health bar, and it is random whether we get them or not. Like there we didn't get one. There we kind of got one. It wasn't a perfect fight, but we can just clean it up real quickly by using our sub-weapons and our whip. And we made it through the prologue sequence. After this, we're going to start playing as Alucard, the main character of the game. In this beginning sequence, we do start with some very powerful items, some of the best gear in the game, and there is a cutscene that happens with Death, aka the Grim Reaper, who will be taking away all of our gear unless we find a way to completely skip that encounter. So we're going to be doing a glitch known as Death Skip. Specifically, we're going to be doing a reverse shift line. The way reverse shift lines work is they essentially allow us to manipulate where we get sent after a screen transition if we are able to freeze the screen at a specific point. We're going to be using a level up to freeze the screen, so I just have to make sure to kill the right number of enemies going up into this hallway, get to the right position, get the level up, and that'll let us skip the screen with death. That should work. There we go. Just use the map there to confirm my positioning, and right like that we are able to skip death, keep all of our overpowered gear that we are not supposed to have this early in the game. Yeah, Death Skip saves multiple minutes in this speedrun because every single boss fight is going to be very, very easy now and much quicker because of this gear. A lot of you might be familiar with an alternate version of Death Skip where you use like a damage boost. That one's a lot more popular and has been known for a very long time, but is just a little bit slower than the version we opt to do for this speedrun. An important thing to note about movement in this video game is the main movement that you've been seeing me do this whole time is called shield dashing. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling up my shield and then pressing the back dash and then pulling up the shield again and then back dashing again over and over and over again, alternating between the two. This lets me cancel the end lag of the backdash and keep the high starting speed of the backdash. So it allows me to essentially move about twice as fast, a little over twice as fast as my normal walking speed. And that speeds up movement quite a bit over the beginning part of the section before we unlock some of our more powerful movement options. And we're coming up on our very first boss fight of the run. We're going to get to see the powerful gear get put to use. And just like that, that's our first boss fight done. Just a few swings is all it takes. So yeah, keeping this gear is very, very important. This speedrun, because we have such powerful gear, becomes a lot less about necessarily like planning out strategies for the boss fights themselves, but it's much more about the movement between the boss fights, and this game has some fantastic movement options. In fact, what we're going to be doing moving forward here for the rest of the beginning section of this run is we're going to be unlocking the transformations that you get in this game because they will allow us to increase our movement options and movement speed quite a bit. Specifically, the Bat Relic is the most important one. Coming up in this room right here is a pretty important part of the route. If you're going to notice in the top left-hand corner, there's going to be a statue that moves. That statue moving is a hint to tell you like where you're supposed to go when you play the game normally, but we are actually going to be entering that area in an unintended way by collecting the wolf transformation. Transformations in this game will allow you to gain access to a dive kick when you're not normally supposed to be able to dive kick until you get the leap stone. It's just an unintended consequence of giving the player access to a dive kick. We can gain extra height by using that dive kick, when normally we would need the double jump ability to gain extra height. From here, there is not too much to talk about until we get that wolf relic, so now would be a great time for some donations if we could do that. If there's a lull in the donations, I would, at some point, be like, this is our next boss. This is the Doppelganger. We're going to be using the stopwatch sub-weapon to freeze him in place, allowing us to just attack him as much as we'd want. And 3 slashes is all it takes, and we are moving on. And we have time for a few quick donations. Because climbing this tower, like, there's not much to talk about. I've pretty much conceded that, like, I might talk about Doppelganger, I might not. Just depends on if they're in the middle of, like, a bunch of interesting or whatever donations. If I have time, I might explain the experience route. Like, oh, I killed that guy because he sets up my experience for later parts. If I get the floor clip, I'll be like, yo, nice. That floor clip is frame perfect and saves like 2 seconds, but it's really silly. But all this was to get the wolf transformation. The wolf transformation, like I said, is going to allow us to sequence break, but it's also going to allow us to gain additional height on some of these jumps using a slope jump. So if you run up a slope as the in the wolf transformation and then jump, it gives you additional momentum with that jump, allowing you to reach heights that you're not supposed to reach normally. We do that to grab the garnet item. That's going to be used later for a glitch in the shop that will give us essentially infinite money, which is very, very important for this run. The other thing that's useful about the wolf relic is not just the additional height that you get, but the actual movement speed of the wolf dash is about as fast as shield dashing, but you're able to actually take advantage of that movement speed in the air, because you can't backdash in the air as Alucard. So anytime that we're jumping as the wolf, we're maintaining that fast horizontal speed, which allows us to go through certain sections like this a little bit quicker than we would be able to by just shield dashing. And coming up here, getting hit by that table there is... It's difficult to avoid them, but it's fine because we are moving on back to the central clock room. Here, like I talked about earlier, that statue that I talked about moves in and out of position every other minute. So right now, we are on the fastest possible cycle. This is a global cycle that can't really be avoided. I made an entire like 25-minute deep dive video explaining the mechanics of this section of the run that we call the clock rush, which is trying to get past this clock statue. The fastest you're able to get here is in under 8 minutes. That's the fastest possible cycle. So up to this point, you can consider this basically world record pace because nobody's been able to get a better cycle than that. But now that we're moving on, we are here in Alrox's quarters. We're going through Alrox's quarters to get to the Coliseum, because the Coliseum has our next transformation relic, the Form of Mist, as well as a few other interesting items that we're going to be using. We're going to be grabbing the Shield Rod, which is a weapon that, when paired with a shield, can activate very powerful spells. And when paired with the Alucard shield, which is our starting shield, that was normally supposed to be taken away from us, it has the most powerful spell in the game, and we're going to be using that to defeat bosses as soon as we get access to it. We're also going to be grabbing a library card in this area, which allows us to teleport directly to the library where the shop is found, as well as the Soul of Bat. But before we get there, we're going to be having a boss fight here with the Minotaur and Werewolf. Their AI doesn't activate right away if you skip this cutscene as soon as possible. So they just stand still and let you hit them for a little while. And we're doing enough damage that them standing still gives us enough time to defeat them before they're able to attack at all. We now have access to the Form of Mist. This lets us get past different mist gates. There's only like a handful of them in the game. But it also allows us to do some other interesting movement options once we gain access to the bat. But before we leave the Coliseum, we do need to grab that Shield Rod, which is right past this big bunch of enemies. We're going to library card out of here. Next up, we're going to be taking advantage of both dive kick from the transformation as well as a slope jump here to gain access to a ledge that we're not supposed to. Got a dive kick off of this book. Nice. The book can give you some difficult patterns. It's kind of random which one you get, and we got a good one there. So we were able to make it up here to the fairy card. The fairy card is an important relic because we're going to be using that fairy card in conjunction with that garnet that we got earlier for a glitch known as shop glitch. Essentially, the fairy is a familiar that we can summon, and when we summon her, she's going to start talking. Her talking is going to overwrite the cutscene that happens with the librarian here, or the shopkeeper.
Thank you.
This is going to allow me to open a menu while talking to the librarian, which you're not supposed to be able to do. This lets me sell my garnet as I equip it, which underflows it from 0 to 255 in my inventory, so I can sell as many as I need to essentially give myself as much money as I need to buy all of the overpowered gear that is in the shop. So we're going to be buying the Jewel of Open, a Mana Prism, Buffalo Star Library card, and the Duplicator. After equipping what we need, we're going to activate the Shield Rod spell. That's what that looks like. This makes it so my shield now, anytime I touch an enemy, is going to be doing 255 damage every 6 frames, which absolutely shreds through every enemy in the game pretty much, making most fights incredibly trivial. Here's another situation with some wolf movement that has the ability to save us some time if we get a good damage boost. We got an okay damage boost. There's a better one we could have gotten, but it's not the end of the world. And here's where we get to see the shield in action versus a boss, and he's dead. He's gone. I think he was on the screen for maybe like a handful of frames. So yeah, the shield is very, very powerful. Now we're going to be grabbing the bat transformation and then immediately leaving the library using an unintended method. This is a quick little visual glitch that saves a little bit of time. But this is the library escape floor clip. Let me see if I can get it. It's like triple frame perfect, so I'm using the map to help buffer my inputs. There we go. Nice. Second try is not bad at all. So essentially jumping into that slope with the wolf and then untransforming in the right position clips you into the floor. It's very, very, very precise. And it allows us to escape through the floor, which is a faster way to escape than going all the way back around. And yeah, now that we have access to the bat transformation, we're going to be using that as our primary form of movement. The bat has access to a spell known as the Wing Smash. It costs 8 magic to perform, and it sends me flying like that. So every time you see those little trails following behind me, that's me doing a Wing Smash. The input is also pretty precise. You have to do a very finicky input where you hold the jump button, do a 3/4 circle motion on the controller, and then release the jump button. And you have to do that every 63 frames, otherwise you lose your ability to Wing Smash, and it forcibly untransforms you. So that's how I'm able to chain these long Wing Smash chains together. You also are able to control your height during a Wing Smash by pressing up and down, so you're able to do movement like this. This is like the hardest section of movement in the game. Oh my god. I can't believe I got that. Yeah, that is like perfect timing, perfect control of your height, and how many Wing Smashes you have to do to keep the chain going. Like, that's legitimately the hardest room in the game to move through. But we're not done collecting movement options. Coming up here, we're going to be getting the Leap Zone, which normally gives us access to the double jump, as well as a dive kick. That dive kick is going to be very important to us because it allows us to start our Wing Smashes, or it allows us to start our transformations with a little bit of momentum. And the bat transformation maintains momentum that you have going into the transformation, so that's how we're able to dive kick and then transform and have this big burst of speed. And then we can transition that into a Wing Smash and start to collectively, like, chain our movement options together. It's one of the reasons I absolutely love this category, is the access to all of these fast and interesting movement options that you can chain together. We have another boss fight coming up, and then a chapel-specific glitch that's going to push us out of bounds and allow us to access the Aurochs's quarter from the backside, giving us access to the Aurochs boss fight much faster than intended. Let me see if I can get it. It is frame perfect. I was 1 frame too early. There we go. Second try's not too bad. We will take that. This is going to push us out of bounds for some reason. Just some screen transition jank that exists in this game. That puts us out of bounds, and we're able to access the Aurochs's quarters, like I said before. So that way we can move on to the Aurochs boss. And from here, there's not too much to talk about, so now would be a great time for some donations. It's just going to be some more movement and another boss fight. Yeah, I'm just doing practice for GDQ commentary, so far this has been good. Aurochs donated $5 and said, I really liked that table. Yeah, I have like nothing to talk about for the next little while. I mean, I have been yapping for like 15 minutes straight with like very little opportunity for them to read donations. Yeah, I've been practicing the commentary alongside actually just doing the speedrun because I want the commentary to do well. Like, I want people to understand what's going on, but also be entertained. And I feel like this game needs good commentary for people to, like, understand what's going on. Because the game is very silly and complicated and weird. And also, it, like, doesn't make sense. Like, if you're watching somebody, like, wing smash around, you're like, okay, so, like, how are they doing that? Are they just, like, pressing a button and then they fly? I don't get it. All right, at this point, I would be like, all right, so our next goal is to enter the caverns area. Along the way, there is another movement option here, the gravity boots. This lets us do a very high vertical jump at the cost of 5 magic points. We're going to be using that to climb vertical sections, but we're also going to be doing another floor clip similar to the one that we did in the cavern, or sorry, similar to the one that we did in the library, but this time to get into the caverns. Nice, got this one first try. It's basically just as difficult as the last one. Again, why I'm pulling up the map to help buffer some of these inputs, making these like triple frame perfect tricks like actually humanly possible. But yeah, this lets us skip a awkward like area where we'd have to move around, press a switch, open up the cavern's floor, and enter that way. This lets us hit the load zone from out of bounds, immediately taking us into the caverns. There we go. And yeah, this is like the first moment that we get to show off the gravity jumping like that, and we can combine that with all of our movement options that we've combined up to this point. And we pretty much are now like complete when it comes to all of the movement options. So this is going to be our base, like all of our movement is acquired, and we're going to be using that in various different ways to get through the castle as fast as we can. We have another glitch coming up here. This is the Scylla boss fight, where we can actually leave the boss room early. We're going to be killing the boss while she's like barely on the screen. There we go. This is going to deload the door behind her. We're going to load that door on top of us. It's going to flash the screen for a few seconds, pushing us through the floor, allowing us to escape the room and skip her lengthy death animation. Here's a room where we get to show off like wing smash chaining. So this long section, I get to keep this entire wing smash chain going because I'm constantly redoing that input, that 3-quarter circle motion input over and over and over again, once every second or so. While also trying to maintain my height. So it's a big balancing act of like doing the input, but also keeping your height at the right level. Fun fact about this little section here, we're waiting for this Donkey Kong skeleton to blow up this bridge, but there was a developer code recently discovered on the original PlayStation version of the game where you can just press triangle on player 2 and it blows up the bridge automatically. This was just a debug thing that they forgot to fix before shipping the game, so it exists as a cute little PlayStation exclusive skip that they have access to. We're playing on the 360 version because it does save a lot of time in load times and lag. So it's still overall fastest to play on this version, but it is a neat little skip that is exclusive to the PlayStation version. Speaking of neat little skips, by the way, this is my favorite skip in the game. It saves 1 second if performed perfectly. Not bad. Similar to how we entered the caverns from out of bounds, this lets us enter the catacombs from out of bounds, but it skips like 1 room. And that's it. But it is a neat little trick. We're essentially getting stuck in a corner and then taking damage, which pushes us through the floor into the load zone from out of bounds. And we're coming up on the final boss fight here of the first castle. We have to wait for Grand Falloon to come out of the ground, and we're out of here. Now we've beaten all the bosses in the first castle, and we have to get to the second castle. Normally, in order to enter the second castle, you need the Holy Glasses item, and then you have to go through a whole cutscene with Richter, saving him from the influences of the Dark Priest shaft. But we're going to be skipping all of that, because in order to grab the Holy Glasses, that's normally like a 5-minute detour or something like that on a casual playthrough. Instead, we're going to be doing a glitch known as Richter Skip. This is going to skip the check, the trigger, where the game checks to see if you've saved Richter yet or not by entering the area where Richter's cutscene is. We're going to enter that area, but not actually touch the trigger itself by doing a precise wolf jump. This loads in the default state of that room, which is Richter having already been saved. And since that happens to be the default state of the room, it lets us move on without needing to grab the Holy Glasses and save him the conventional way. So, oh my goodness, we got a first try. That trick is very, very inconsistent. I'm so happy we got a first try. Nice. But yeah, we just fly past Richter, move on into the second castle without needing to do all that quest stuff. And now for the rest of the second castle, honestly, there's not much to talk about other than we're going to be flying around, defeating bosses using our overpowered Alucard shield. So now would be a great time for some donations. Really? Oh, also, this is a really great time to explain another mechanic of wing smashing known as terrain boosting. So the reason I'm able to wing smash and like instantly gain vertical momentum from the wing smash instead of accelerating upwards is because I am taking advantage of the slopes that I'm wing smashing against. So if you wing smash against a slope, you gain the vertical angle of that slope into your the height of your wing smash immediately. This lets you just wing smash up faster than normal, because otherwise you'd have to like wing smash, hold up, and then like accelerate up to your max speed. This lets you hit that max speed instantaneously by using the slope to guide you, which is really, really nice. That's one of the more like obvious examples of it. I guess I should also take this time to just shout out the Symphony of the Night speedrunning community. We have a Discord server, the Long Library Discord, if you want to join that server to just learn more about the game, talk to some people, even join in on some like randomizer races or whatever. You can find the link on speedrun.com is probably the easiest way, speedrun.com/SotN. Under the external links, you'll find the link to the Discord. You could also check out SotN.io. That is the randomizer website. If you want to get into randomizer speedruns or races, or just to play this game randomized, it's a lot of fun. Shout outs to Wild Mouse for making that randomizer. And yeah, we do lots of races in the Long Library Discord of the randomizer all the time. Very active race community. That's the doppelganger boss yet again. We're using the stopwatch to defeat him quickly. I also never got to mention the items that we bought in the library. I explained that we bought them, but I never really explained why. So the Mana Prism is a item that when you use it, it gives you a brief amount of invincibility as well as refills your magic to full, which is very, very useful because we're using our magic to wing smash around and to use gravity jumps and whatnot. But in order to have infinite usage of that mana prism, we have the duplicator equipped, which is an accessory item that costs 500,000 gold. It's the most expensive item in the game. And essentially, it lowers some of your stats, but our stats don't matter since we're doing so much damage. And in exchange for lowering our stats, it allows us to infinitely use any of our single-use items, so any throwables that you're only supposed to be able to use once, any potions, anything like that, we can use as much as we want so long as we have the duplicator equipped. And now would be another time for some more donations as we move on to the next boss. This is the boss with the highest amount of health in the game, 12,000 HP. You do slightly more damage if you hit him in the head. And yeah, our shield is able to shred through 12,000 HP in just a few seconds. From here, we're about halfway done with the second castle, and go ahead with some more donations if you got them. I don't know how to beat that boss normally either. I only know how to cheese him or use the shield rod. Fighting that guy normally is a pain. I don't want to do that.
Tribute.
Love the stream. Thank you, HD.
And make them your slaves.
Sorry, I have no clue how to say your name, but thank you. Appreciate the Prime sub for 2 months. Nice. All great, so thank you. Yeah, this guy has the longest animation after dying. He just likes to stay on the screen for a long time. And there he is. He's all gone now. This is a neat little boss. This is a reference to Castlevania 3. We have Grant, Trevor, and Sypha. And it's nice because we can like damage boost them into each other to try and hit both like Grant and Trevor at the same time. And after that, we're coming up on the last boss before the last skip of the run and then the final boss encounter. So yeah, again, if you're ever interested in learning how to speedrun this category or speedrun this game at all, I have a bunch of tutorials on my YouTube channel explaining speedrunning concepts, even something as simple as just like how to wing smash or how to shield dash. All that stuff I cover in one video or another. So if anything like this looks interesting to you, definitely check it out. And that was the final boss there. Before our last glitch of the run, we're going to be doing another reverse shift line, similar to what we did to skip death, but instead we're going to be using a heart refresh to freeze the screen, and it's going to push us past a save room into the ceiling, and then we're going to use the ceiling, we're going to fly into the ceiling, into another save room that is normally locked behind a gate that requires that you collect 5 different relics, the 5 pieces of Vlad. But we didn't pick any of those up because we don't need to, because we're going to do this skip right here. There we go. Nice. Pushing us past the save room into the ceiling. Pushing us into the next save room. Ooh, it's not supposed to flash the screen like that. Sorry. And yeah, this room we're not normally supposed to be able to get into without seeing like a really long animation of the clock doors opening. But we skip all that. And this is the final boss encounter. We have to fight Shaft and then finally Dracula. This has been a lot of fun. Great run so far. Super happy to be here. Thank you, GDQ, for allowing me to show off my favorite video game for you guys. And the final fight is coming up, and time will be coming up in just a few seconds as soon as there is a big flash. And time. 31:30.
Go back whence you came.
Not bad.
Trouble the soul of my mother no more.
Being 30 seconds off world record's not too bad at all.
How
So,
is it that
I'll take that.
I've been so defeated? You have been
Good run.
doomed ever
Pretty
since
decent
you lost
commentary.
The ability to love.
2 things I want to fix is flashing screen warning for some of the tricks.
Gains the world and loses his own soul.
I could probably just say, like, there's a flash. I'll give you guys a flashing screen warning. I could do that at the beginning of the run. Be like, hey, just by the way, there's a few glitches that may cause the screen to flicker. So if you're sensitive to flashing lights, I will try and warn you ahead of time when something like that might happen.
Then at least do them no harm, for theirs is already a hard lot.
Because I don't want that to just, like, you know,
said to tell you,
because there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people watching. The odds of somebody having, like, epilepsy is pretty high.
Forgive me. Farewell, my son.
The only other thing is find a better time to talk about Duplicator. I wish I could talk about it during the library section, but the library section is just so packed. And then I immediately start talking about wing smashing right afterwards. It's tough. It's tough.
Fear not. I had my own reasons for destroying him.
Don't get thrown off by the claps. I won't be able to hear them because it's going to be online, so I'll be good.
Remember that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good.
I never let, like, in my previous runs, I usually don't let that bother me. I just keep talking, even if people are clapping.
The blood that flows in my veins.
All right. I think I'm going to take another short break. That was a very successful run.
Here forever.
I see.
Honestly, that was like,
Well then, we'll not meet again.
that, like, if I played just a little bit better, that could have been world record. That's crazy. I played pretty damn well.
No. It's
I played pretty well that run.
I can't ease his torment.
30 seconds off world record in a no reset run where I don't even have the music disabled. The music disabled saves a few seconds. Like,
Let's
sheesh.
go.
If I get a run like that tomorrow, I will be incredibly happy. Incredibly happy. Like, this was world record not that long ago. Like, this would be second best run on the leaderboards. Nice. All right, I'm going to run some ads. I'll be right back, and then we're going to do another run through. I think we're going to do any percent, and I want to do any percent with commentary. Because I haven't practiced any percent for a while now. And I don't know what I'm going to say on commentary for any percent, but I'll just try and wing it and make it very similar to the All Bosses commentary. I doubt we're going to do any percent, but I want to have at least like one practice run. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to be right back, guys. I'm going to let these credits roll out.